Hi everyone, welcome to Aldo Meets podcast. Just a big shout out, obviously, for the Hotel Anfield, because without the hotel and Peter, we wouldn't be here. And headline sponsor, Budweiser. I do like Mal. Mal is a nice lager, to be fair. Beyond Hospitality, big sponsors. Onyx Real Estate, RW Invest, Kingdom Plumbing, Northwest Fencing, Bell Lamp, Junction Solicitors, STS Sovereign Transport Services, and all the proceeds the charities go to now. And now we're with others, or now we're for others, sorry, and the Silly Goose Foundation. So thanks to everyone.
Let me tell you the story of a poor boy. He was sent far away from his home to fight for his king and his country, and also the old folks back home. So they put...
Alright everyone, welcome to Aldo Meets, episode 28, with Peter James and my old mucker, Ray Houghton. Partners in crime, Liverpool, Oxford, Republic of Ireland, teammates, roommates. He never made a fucking cup of tea in his life, by the way. I used to always get in. Now all joking apart, right? How's things, mate?
I'm
Keep
very
yourself
well.
busy, aren't you?
Yeah, reasonably busy, John. Yeah, it's very difficult, when you finish playing and you don't really know what you do with yourself, and some of these go into coaching. I went into the punditry side of things. Often asked, is it a regret? Would you rather went into the coaching? I've got to be honest with you, I do. I would have loved to have gone into it because...
I thought you were going to, we spoke many times, didn't we? I thought that you not doing that. I thought that was your next step.
That's what I wanted to try it. I had a couple of things when I was at Reading, but I was still playing at the time. It's like when you're playing, it's hard to do any coaching because you try to keep yourself fit. Yeah, you try to keep yourself ready for the games that are upcoming. Then I went to Crystal Palace, had a season doing it there. I enjoyed it, but the realisation with the young players coming through and the attitudes and what you had to do for them became very difficult. And then we started to get some bad results, and then the chairman starts to panic.
Was that Palace?
Yeah, it was at Palace, and then we were moved on. And then I just decided that it probably wasn't for me. But I look back now and wish I had another go.
Did you play the Palace game when Peace was on penalties? Tranmere? Was you at that one?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I haven't told you. So after the game, I've said to the lads, just going off the subject a little bit, done really well. Terry Venables was the manager at the time, and I've said to the lads, look, I've been watching their goalkeeper. He's shied down that side. I said, whatever you just put all the penalties down that side. Whoever misses, I'll take the blame. Anyway, we got beat by 1 penalty, and I think it was anyone. One of the lads missed this. He put it. It was in Rowe's head. And instead of just passed into that, if you passed in, he'd have scored because he was so weak down that side. And I got in the dressing room. And you know what I'm like sometimes.
Sometimes.
And I've gone, all you needed to do is just put it in the fucking bottom right down fucking I told you. And I picked up the skip and I've gone, and I threw it into where the shower room is. It's in the sink and it's all exploded and gone. And it cost Tranmere always £5,000 to get fixed. I think we overindulged in the bill, by the way. But that's my memory of Crystal Palace.
Just you say what you said there, and then the way you said it was Jack Charlton. That was Jack Charlton. Jack done that to me at Wembley when we drew 1-1 with England.
Oh,
91 when I was.
You went through with about 2 minutes to go, didn't you?
And he came in and he never said anything to me. I was not good enough a little bit. But after the game, I'm waiting for the volley of abuse from Jack, not a word. And I've got into the bath at Wembley. Now, the Wembley bath in there, when I'm in there, it's up there. Now, when it's 6'7", it was up to his knees. So I'm hiding under the thing, washing my hair. Comes out, not a word. And I go up to the lounge, and my wife was there and some friends, and I'm waiting, having a drink and that. And all of a sudden, the doors at the far end open. It was a massive big room, and these doors bang. And all I can see the apparition, which is Jack Charlton, the veins are popping his neck, and he's scouring the room, and he finds me And he comes walking over, people go, well done, Mr. Charlton. He's not even talking to them. He jumps straight over to me. And exactly what you just done there. You had the whole bloody goal, the whole goal. You're going to be that hero again. He laughed back at me for about 5 minutes in front of my missus. One of the biggest put-downs ever.
Yeah,
and it's just like you done.
Typical Jack. No, he was brilliant. And when you first met him, you see what a character. We've got many stories about Jack, to touch on down the way. But yeah, no, going back to Ray with the management, I thought he was deemed for that. I thought he had the attributes, but like I was Tranmere obviously for 5 years. Looking back, I think he made the right decision because it would have took some years off your life to be what you got. It's what you said's quite right. I mean, I had some great players, but what comes with it, it takes over your life. It really does.
Oh yeah, no, that's part of being a manager and coach, isn't it? Is you're going to get involved in it. You have to do it to the best of your ability.
You don't get even in the night time. You can't sleep. You've got like a book next time, so you wake up and think, oh yeah, write that in the book, and then it's 24/7. So
I think fans think they're just personally with fans think of a manager or a coach. I think at times they think you get in at 9 o'clock. Training finishes at 1, and then you're in your car and you're back home. They don't realise you might be in there at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
You're going, particularly if you're not having a good time, you're trying to rectify what's going on. How can you change it? What's the difference? Should we do something different in training to try and improve things? And they're there all day, and then you've got the board up, and then you're writing down names of the players who might be playing in the next game, and it just there's a lot more going into it.
Not easy.
Realise.
Aldo, we're sat here 24 hours after the Legends game that you were part of. How was that? You obviously raised a lot of money.
No, it's great. We've been doing it for some years now, and full house. The last 5 years have been full house every time. 60,000 there yesterday.
Very few clubs.
And it's great to see Dortmund. When we played Celtic in the past, Celtic had loads, and it's great to see the away fans participating as well in the occasion. But look, it brings 1.2 million to charities. As the chairman of the ex-players, the Forever Reds, we get a really decent percentage to ensure and cover against any of our players, which we know there's 4 or 5 not very well at the moment, with likes of Alzheimer's, dementia, and what we've done in the past for likes of Ron Yates, Chris Lawler, Joey Jones's funeral, and we've got a nice little safeguard for anything that may arise in the future. And the fans were brilliant. They know that. The rest of it, the foundation, which does so much for the community in and around Liverpool, Merseyside area, stays in there. Even if it goes to Alzheimer's Trust, it goes into this area. We state that anyway. But yeah, and the players love it. They're clambering. There was 26 players yesterday, and the reason why we let Dortmund back in the game because we should have battered them. Done well, to be fair.
Yeah, first 15 minutes, I thought it's going to be a long afternoon for Dortmund.
But you got to give everyone a game. So at the end, we left ourselves open. And to be fair, it was a great result, especially Dortmund. I've seen like 500-600 Dortmund fans coming over just for the holiday and to give Peter loads of money in there, behind the bar and all that. With all his Dortmund fans, flags outside. Like, he's a hooer.
but just on that, just on when you have these charity events, what's behind it, and it's to make money, for people who genuinely need it. There's very few clubs that can get the numbers that you got. 60,000 fans that want to come out and participate, and not only that, but the lads from Dortmund coming over to represent their club. It's great, it's absolutely fantastic. They've still got a rapport with the club. They've still got rapport with the fans. Same with the Liverpool players. They've come out, the adulations there. I heard them singing Stevie's name when they came off. Yeah. Jay Spearing scores a spectacular goal.
That was nice, wasn't it?
I see the light of his face light up when he scored. And these are memories that, unfortunately, you're pro for X amount of years and then all of a sudden it's gone. And all you've got is your memories left. But if you get chances to come and play in an iconic stadium like Anfield in front of 60,000 fans, it brings back, the good times of playing and being part of it. And I think it's brilliant. And I like to that. I said the money that's generated for charity.
Yeah. Good to see Jurgen.
Oh, it's great, yeah. Do you know, he'd done a little bit of a team talk before just to cheer the players. Obviously, didn't really need it, but but it was special. You know, it was really special listening to the words of wisdom that come out of his mouth for like a few minutes. Really, really good. And it, for me, like, you know, looking back at the years he's been at Liverpool, I was listening to what he said and imagining what he was saying, like in the Champions League final or whatever, similar sort of words to get you into motivation, you know, make some motivational speech type of thing. But he was, he's brilliant. You know, we thanked him for coming. You know, his time was, you know, very precious, and he went out of his way, and he loved it as well. So, no, he's ticked all the boxes, and we look forward to next year's now.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ray, the big news this week, obviously Mo Salah announcing he's going to leave Liverpool after 9 years at the end of the season. What did you make of that decision? Does it feel like the right time?
I wasn't surprised, I've got to be honest with you. Yeah. I think Mo's been an exceptional player. You know, it's a bit like when people read a book. You don't always remember what you read at the start, but you only read a little bit at the end, and that's the bit you remember the most. And maybe because he's not played as well as he has done the previous seasons, that people are only remembering this part of it. I think you've got to look at the whole. He's 9 seasons at the club. 255 goals, isn't he? He scored? Yeah. 250, you average that out. That's insane.
And
for a winger.
And assists.
And assists.
John, I'm talking about a winger. You know, man, I would like to think myself as someone who assisted in goals. I didn't score that many. But when you're doing both, like he's done, it's absolutely incredible. The percentages are...
You should have... Do you know what's just... When I'm just going off the subject a little bit, like, you know, personally, like someone said to me, like, I scored 64 goals for Liverpool, or 63, sorry, and I had 23 assists, which at the time, we didn't give a shit who he was. We knew. I knew, like, Barnes, he was amazing. Ray was always... We always had, like, something, you know, going between us and Peter. Like, but it was... I went, oh, wow. I was talking to Barnes about it after the game, funny enough, yesterday. And you know what, you should, it'd be interesting to see, you know how many goals you scored for Liverpool, but if you see me assist, because Ray was very, you know, integral to the way the team ticked and worked, especially the front four. And you must have a little look at LFC TV. I'll have that. It'd be interesting to know. I'd love to know that, because it'd have a huge amount of assists, right? Yeah.
What do you both reckon to Liverpool agreeing to effectively tear up the last year of the deal?
Well, you don't know the contractual agreement, do you? You know, people are saying 400 grand a week, whatever it is, that could be spread out over a season. You don't know. There might be, you know, we used to call it, what was it at the end of the
when you left, you got so much money.
I'll get it back in a minute. But like, you know, within this contract, and it amounts to X amount of money. Now, we don't know the value of what, like with Saudi at this moment in time, it's upside down with the war and what's going on. We don't know the value of players. When it first started, there's 100 millions and this. That seems to have died down somewhat a little bit now. So what is Mo's value? Like we could say, well, Mo at his best, you couldn't buy him. Now Mo, the way he's come down to a level far less, and we know that, we're being honest here. You know, what is his actual value? What's the contractual value? So I think that they've probably seen it, might be wrong, splitting and just say, well, look, there you go.
I find it interesting that a lot of people talk about players who are leaving, you know, that you're not going to get anything back for them. But they don't talk about players that were bought for a lot of money that were sold off at a loss. They don't talk about that side of it. You know, you bought something for 70 million, you sell them off at 30 million, you've wasted 40 million. Don't hear about that. No. You know, they don't really speak about it. But someone who's leaving, who you might have got something for, but you're not going to get any money for now. Oh no, let's talk about him. Instead of looking at the bigger picture, the bigger picture is since Mo Salah came to the club, what's he done for Liverpool? He's won every trophy that there's possible to do. And I think that's what we should look at, is have a look at his stats, have a look at his performance level, and then say, was he worth it when you paid, was it 40 million for him? And you think of he's whatever he was earning a year. I think when you factor that in, that's when you stand back and you go, oh, yeah, if you looked at the cool light of day of that, on numbers like that, he was worth every penny of it.
Absolutely.
So where would you both put him in terms of, you know, like the debate about where he stands in all the legends?
I've already done my top 10.
Go on.
He went in at number 5 for me.
Okay, so who was above him?
I went for Ian Rush for the goals that he scored. John Barnes, who, in my opinion, when I played at Liverpool, John Barnes was the best player I played with.
Yeah.
John could do everything and more. And and I'd put more in that category. You know, there's the top players make the game look easy, but it's difficult. You know, and the things that they're doing are difficult, but to them they're simple. And it's not. And I highlight Lionel Messi, I highlight Cristiano Ronaldo. And if you look at what they do in matches, you know, and they go through and beat players and say, and people can do that. No, they can't.
Yeah.
They can't do that. That's magical moments, the game-changing moments, the players that others like ourselves watch and we go, that's brilliant. You know, I mean, to us, that's brilliant. Brilliant to players that have played. You know, that just shows you how good it is. And that's the category I would put them in. So when I'd looked at that, I put Barnes at 3, Stevie G at 2, and Kenny at 1, you know. And I think I also put Roger Hunt in it, and I put Ray Clements in it. And the reason is because Liverpool wasn't just about the last 30, 40 years. No. Liverpool have been about, I mean, I'd love to even go further back. Billy Little. I'd love to have seen more of what Billy did, but I didn't. So I can only go on certain people that I've seen, and then I'll give my opinion on that. And I've said when I did it afterwards, I said, anyone who wants to try and do it, good luck. Yeah, good luck trying to do it. It's because it's subjective. Yeah. It's not objective. It's subjective. It's what I think. It's what anyone's picking. It's what you think. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means that's my opinion.
What
my
means
opinion.
to you personally and your heart.
And the reason, I'll give you the reasons why I think those players should be in those positions. You know, I'll give you the reason why John Barnes was the best player that I played with. I'll give you that Steven Gerrard was the best, in my opinion again, Steven Gerrard was the best impact midfield player that I'd seen at that time. When he played, Steven impacted the game. He done things that other midfielders couldn't do in that area of the field.
It's tough because I was Liverpool from the mid-60s, like, and it's really hard to categorise the number, but I would put Steve number 1 because of what he pulled us out the shed so many times. With all due respect, some really good players, some great players, but some really average players in the team. Where Kenny was magnificent, brilliant, and as a manager, he played with everyone of them was world class. Well, not world class, they were internationally renowned, really top players. So I would put Kenny second. Then it's hard. Roger Hunt would have to go in for me because of the impact he had on my life as a kid. You know, you got Souness. When I was in my teens, I've never seen a midfield player get the game by the scruff of the neck and run the show. You know, Barnes, he then comes in, you've got Rushy, you know, Robbie, you know, Mo then comes into that sort of bracket, you know. I hope there's probably someone forgot there, but anyway, it's really tough.
Yeah.
Don't forget the defenders when you go through your team. You know, like I went
Jockey.
Big Al was in my top 10.
Absolutely.
Because I had shared a room with Al for a couple of seasons, and I learnt more in them 2 years just being in the room with him than I probably did in the other 18 years that I played, because he understood the game. He knew positionally where he should be, what he should be doing. He made the game look easy. And when you're a defender, if you can make the game look easy and you never look in trouble, that in itself is an art. Yeah. And that's why I had Virgil in there as well. Virgil has been very much like that in the times he's been at the club. Honestly, there's hundreds and hundreds of players I could have put in that top. So many top players. Kevin Keegan, Robbie Fowler. You know, you could have went down.
He's the one that I forgot, Kevin Keegan.
You could have went right down the list of so many players. The only reason why we Kenny up in as well. Kenny took over from a legend, which was Kevin Keegan. Toshak Keegan was his partnership. And then this fella's came in from Scotland. He had done outstandingly well at Celtic, but how was he going to develop at Liverpool? You know, but
was that his first game, Newcastle? Yeah. And I was thinking, Kevin Keegan's gone. I was devastated.
Ray, on this week, Jürgen also did an event on the Thursday night for the foundation at Anfield, talking about his time, but also how tricky timing it was of his return to Anfield. Even the announcement of it was a bit higgledy-piggledy because Liverpool's form. I'm getting to Arne Slot. And then I was surprised. Well, surprised, but I think he was trying not to engage with the fans after the game too much, but he ended up fist pumping every single side of the stadium the way he always did. And I just thought, oh my God, that we loved it. You could immediately feel, like you said, the words of wisdom. As fans, we were like, oh, wasn't it amazing? You were like transformed back, which begs the question, of course, what is your view on the current situation and Arne Slot's future? Do you think no matter what happens between now and the end of the season, he deserves another year? This was a transition year, or you think his time is up?
No, I don't think his time is up. I think it's a transition year. I think you've got to look at the bigger picture. Liverpool last season, to me, were one of the quickest teams in transition. Why would they like that? Because we had a player in Trent Alexander-Arnold who could turn defence into attack quickly. So when our forwards, when Trent had the ball, our forwards were looking forward. Whereas if you look now, we haven't got anyone who can play in that manner. So they're coming towards the ball all the time. They're not utilising space in behind. And that comes down to the individual who was playing that way. I used to call them the Olympic sprinters, the Liverpool players. So as soon as Trent got it, he was like, whoop. They were like Olympic sprinters running forward because they knew that ball was coming. When you know the ball's not going to come in that fashion, you come short because you want to get involved in the build-up. So the dynamics of how Liverpool play now compared to last season, to me, has changed. Very unusual for a manager to make the changes in people leaving when you've won the cup. When you win the league, very unusual for so many people to move out of the club, and you're always expecting somebody to come in. Your players that you come in have got to hit the ground running. There's a lot of talk about when Wirtz came in and others, how they're going to do it. And John will tell you, it's difficult to come in straight away and be part of a team that's going, wow, brilliant. We're on the front foot. We're taking the game to the opposition. You're looking around. You're looking for help in many respects. What do I do? Where should I be? You're always questioning. And sometimes it takes others longer than some to come to grips with the way that Liverpool play. Now, if I was to say to the players, and you were being brutally honest with every Liverpool player at the moment, and say, are you playing as well now as you did last season? I think two might put their hand up. Yeah. And that would be the goalie. And Soboslai. And that's it to me. I think everyone else, if they were being brutally honest with themselves, they would turn around and say no. And then you'd have to question why. Why aren't you playing as well as you did last season? And if they all came out and had a real answer to it, I think you'd find out why it's not going as well as it is. Also, the way that Liverpool plays changed. Last season, we used to have Mo out on the right. We had Luis Diaz or Cody Gakpo on the left. So we played with great width, which left room in the middle of the park for people to play. We've changed that now. We now play a lot more narrow or get our width from the fullbacks. So there's a lot of ticky-tacky football in the middle, little one-touch, two-touch. When it comes off, as it did against Galatasaray, it's lovely. It's absolutely sensational. But it's not always going to come off. And when it doesn't, that's when you have the fans not engaging as much. That's when the fans are thinking, well, what's going on? We used to get the ball wide, we used to get crosses, and we used to get goals. When it's not going that way, that's when you get the fans unhappy with what's happening. I sat behind Arne when he first came into the club. I liked what I heard. I thought he was very upbeat. He knows his stuff as far as positional play. I think this is a transformation season, and I think you'll eventually get to know where the players that you can trust, the ones that should be there, the ones that you might have to move on, and what he might have to change to get to where he wants.
It's just touching on it quickly, and it does take some players longer than others to settle in. You look back at the time when I came, we knew Rushy was going and Kenny has just finished. The boot room boys and the manager, what they did, what the people we got in the background now looking at what the manager needs was amazing. Because you're losing 30 goals from Russia, you're losing 20 from Kenny. So they get me when they knew, when I went there, he told me to just hang on because they changed it from going in the middle to going out wide to get, they knew how they were going to change. So Barnsley and Peter come in the June, July time. Then Ray follows in the September. And it was unreal. We just bang, click. And to be fair, we all had good football brains. Ray, for me, had the best football brain. He was brilliant out of anyone. But Barnes had this dynamics, and he had Peter like a little genius. I was a goal scorer. But for the club to see what they wanted, and we all just went knuckle down, bingo, do it, what you need to do, no excuses. sensational.
But just on that, I agree with what John said there, but in the background, you had Alan Hansen, winner, won everything, consistently, you know, and Ronnie Whelan, Steve McMahon, Jan Mulvey. I could go through numerous players. So they were there to help us and mentor us through when we might have not been having a good time, that they were there to back you up. You know, Ronnie Moran used to say to you, it's not about 11 of you playing well in the game that's going to win. It's maybe 7 or 8 of you. Yeah. And there were some players that you could rely on who were going to be ham and eggers, as we were called, because they used to give you the same performance week in, week out, week out. Yeah. But then your flair players were the match changes, the game winners, and that's where the dynamic changed. Where I think at the moment, because the team aren't playing as well as last season, a lot of the lads are looking after themselves at the moment because they're not playing well enough to help you play your game or help you play your game, which was what happened back in early.
And maybe there's one more factor just before James takes it on with the next question, which is you also might not have had to deal with the loss of a teammate the way that this team has had to deal with this season. And I know it's not something that we, it's hard to judge, do I want to talk about it more or I want to sort of put it in the box and leave it behind? But at the moment, the fans decide at 20 minutes, including at the Legends game, everybody gets up and honors his Jota's legacy, and that impacts the team.
No, only the players will know exactly the impact. We can
only imagine.
We can only look from outside in and say, yeah, of course it would do. But if it was one of our teammates who we replaced, it would have had a massive impact on us. There's no doubt about it, because you're like a family, and that's what you want. Yeah. That's the reasons why we used to go on a coach from the ground to the training ground every day. It wasn't because of. I mean, John and I used to live the other side, go past the training ground to go to the ground to get on a coach to go back to the training ground, and then go back to there, to then we drive back to the house. And the reason for that, it was an easier drive to get to the training ground, but they wanted you on the bus because they wanted you to be like a family. Because if you had any problems, anything that was going on, you could sit with your mate on the bus and you could talk it through. And when you lose someone who's as close as that to you, as they did with Diogo Jota, it's going to have a massive impact.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ray, let's go back to where it all started for you. Born in Glasgow.
Yeah.
What was life like as a kid? Was it always the dream to be a footballer?
Yeah, look, I've got 2 older brothers who are very good footballers. It was always my dream to become a pro. I was playing, like a lot of us would have done. When you're a good footballer, you normally play 2 years ahead, 2 years ahead. So even when I was young, I was playing at a different level. I actually played for Islington Boys when I came down to London, where I played with Chrissy White. Chrissy White played for Arsenal and played for Leeds United. I played with Chrissy Ramsey. Chrissy Ramsey played for Brighton in the FA Cup final against Manchester United. I played in the same year as them, so the same district team. The only problem was that Chrissy White was about 6 foot when he was 11. I was about 3'3". I actually had a picture, and it looks like I'm kneeling down, not standing up next to him. That was a difference in height. So as I got older, 11, 12, 13, I was getting no bigger. So the manager used to say to me, you're a good player, but there's no physicality about you. And then we used to train at Arsenal on a Tuesday or a Thursday with the scholars, the Arsenal scholars. But then when I was 13, because I wasn't growing, I was released. And then at 16, you think that's it. You're not going to have a chance. And there was a friend of mine, Dennis Phillips. Dennis and I were at school together. West Ham scout had seen Dennis play, couldn't believe how good he was and wasn't with a club. And you virtually got him into the West Ham B team and virtually said to him, is anyone like you? And he mentioned me, and that was it. It was as simple as that. Came round my house, said, would you like to come and trial at West Ham? And I said, yeah, I was working. I actually worked. I was at J&B Whiskey, Just Irene and Brooks Whiskey. I used to, funny enough,
tasting.
I used to book the containers that used to take the whiskey to North America. So to Canada, to all over America, to Mexico, and I used to make sure that the right amount of whiskey was on the container ships.
That's a few little tots, To
be fair, I didn't really drink that much back then, and I hated it. I absolutely hated the job. And within about 8-9 months of being at West Ham, John Lyle asked me if I wanted to become a pro.
Right. And you just played one game for West Ham, is that right?
Yeah, listen, my last season at West Ham, so I'm 19, nearly 20, I scored 19 goals from midfield.
Right.
19 goals. And at the end of the season, you go in to see if you're going to get a new contract. And there's about 10 lads waiting. And I'm first in. And being a bit of a joker and, you've had a good season, I went, all right, lads, don't worry. I'll take some of the money, but I won't take all the money. See you in a minute. And I go in, and I can remember the first words to me from John.
John actually I tell you.
So there was John Lyle, Mick McGivern, and Ronnie Boyce. Okay. They were the two reserve coaches. And when I went in, Ronnie Boyce was very much in favour of me staying. Mick McGivern, I don't think was so much. But John said to me, look, we think you're a good player, but we think it's best that you move on. And he might as well have been speaking a different language to me because I haven't got a clue what he said after that. I'm just sitting there thinking, my God, I've just scored 19 goals in the reserves and I'm getting released. So I went out and all the lads are there and I went, well, I'm gone. And they went, well, what's the point of us going in? Because you've been by far the best player this season. And even some of the likes of David Cross, who was at West Ham at the time, Billy Bonds, God rest him, and others, went to John Lyle and said, look, we think you're making a mistake. Because actually, you used to get a pink form when you're being released. So the PFA rep was David Cross. And I went to see Dave and I said, Dave, I need a pink form. And he's going, oh, shut up, you. Do you know there's people here who need a pink form because they're leaving the club. So stop messing around. And I went, no, Crossy, I've been released. He's like, what? And he just couldn't believe it. And then, yeah.
So what reason did they give you? Was it the high physicality?
He just said, I think it was. No, it wasn't. I think they thought there was other players coming through a year or two below me, and they felt that there was enough there to cover it. And it's amazing. I always wanted to impress John Lyle. I wanted more than any other manager, even Jack or Kenny. I wanted because he was my first manager, and I wanted to impress him to get into the first team. And it didn't matter what I did. It was always not good enough. And even when I used to come back and watch the reserves, because they were my life. I was there for 3 years with these lads. So I used to come back on a Tuesday, go to West Ham, watch them play. And I'd actually moved to Fulham. It was in October. We played against Newcastle up at Newcastle.
I remember seeing that on the telly, that one. The first time I ever seen you.
Yeah, first time I'd ever been on the telly as a player. And
you scored.
I went through, beat a couple of players to turn, and I chipped the keeper from about 35 yards. And I went to...
Ray, 18 yards. Come on, you're exaggerating again.
I could kick it that far back then. So
I remember that game, the first time I went, oh, he looks a fucking proper good player. I was at Oxford at the time.
So the thing was, I went back to West Ham on the Tuesday, and John Lyle came over to me, and I thought he was going to say well done, and his only words to me went, my goalkeeper wouldn't have let that one in and walked away. He didn't even say well done even then, but
you proved him wrong though, didn't you?
Yeah, no, but I must admit, when I won the League Cup U&I with Oxford, he sent me a lovely handwritten letter just saying delighted that your career went the way it did, all the very best, and I cherished that.
Yeah. So the 3 years at Fulham, obviously, how do you look back at them before you started to go to Oxford and your path
met the lunatic
time
next to me? Yeah, I had a great time. I mean, absolutely brilliant.
Some good lads.
Malcolm McDonald was the manager. Malcolm was he wasn't a good coach, but he was a good manager. He couldn't put on a session, he wouldn't put on a session. But we had Ray Harford there. Ray Harford for me was one of the brightest coaches, one of the best coaches, and well ahead of his time, miles ahead of his time. Put on great sessions. My first season, we went to Derby, last game of the season. And if we would have won that, we would have got promoted to the first division, the Premiership as it is today. And we ended up losing the game 1-0. And the referee had to bring us off because they all came on the pitch. They opened the gates up before the end of the match, and they were all around the side of the pitch. And the ball was going out for a throw-in, and one of our players, Robert Wilson, went to get to the throw-in. And one of the fans came on and tackled him. He actually chopped him under the thigh. And it was crazy. It was crazy times. And the police didn't know what to do. And the referee brought us off before the match had finished. We went to the FA to see if we could get it replayed. But it was only little Fulham. We were really meaningless. And it never happened. But I think it's times like that. If we would have got into the top top division. The money that would have been generated, then we could have kept the squad together, added to it, and who knows what could have happened at that particular time.
So let's just pretend for a moment John isn't sat next to you. So you join Oxford United, your paths crossed the first time. What were your first impressions on this lovable rogue that is John Aldridge?
Well, I was the only signing, I think, John, wasn't I? You know, when you look back, you never got promoted from the second to the first. Jim Smith left when he went to QPR. Jim Smith tried to sign me at QPR before I came to Oxford, and then they said that the chairman didn't want to pay the money for me, so I ended up going to Oxford. I was the only new sign. My first game was against Liverpool, where you scored. Remember 2-2?
Yeah.
Alan Kennedy own goal. And that really cemented my belief that I went to the right place.
That was your first game.
My first game, Steve McMahon's first game for Liverpool.
That's right.
And my first game for
Pretty sure the question gave you a great opportunity to have a real go at it.
I'm trying to stay away from it.
hoping that you would move on, but I'm not going to let you. So
when we
John,
came,
it's for Ray to pitch about.
Ray were like, when he first came to the club, we had a bit of a do in our house. It was quite a fair distance away where we lived. And Ray came with Brenda, didn't he? And so Joan and Brenda befriended each other. So we were all close in the dressing room, but me and Ray got to.
He was a dream for a midfield player, because John wanted to get in the box. You know, he wanted to be in there where he was going to score goals. That's where you want your centre forward. I don't want my centre forward coming out, get involved in the build-up play all the time. I mean, others can do that. Where you want your forward is in the box where it matters. That's where they're going to do what comes natural to them. And he was absolutely brilliant from that point of view for the wide players, where it was Brocky, where it was Peter Rose-Brown, where it was myself. We had wingers, we had players that wanted to get into the box. But let me tell you, if you didn't put the ball in the box, he told you once, he didn't tell you the second time, because it was murders, absolutely murders. He would come over and point at you. I made that bloody run into the box again. You're not playing there. You're not playing there the next time. Yeah, got it, John. But no,
the same age you could do with some of that.
Yeah, we had like Jeremy Charles, we had we had Billy Hamilton. So
Billy Hamilton
good foils.
Day,
we had good foils for John, players that would come out and, and let him get into positions where he could score. I knew, which is, you don't see a lot today. I actually asked the question, how many good head of the balls are there from centre forwards these days? There's not many, but he always put his head in where it mattered, and got the important goals that would win you a game. Because we knew we were up against it. We were playing against the top sides in the top division that particular time. So staying in the division was a massive goal for us.
That's what we all had to do. And people tend to forget, we helped Liverpool win the double. We played Everton the second to last game of the season. Liverpool went to Leicester and won 2-0. We beat Everton 1-0. Remember that game?
Little Les Phillips scored a goal.
Yeah, Little Les scored a great goal. Sorry, Spiders. We got it never told me over there, Barry. But and we all went out partying that night we didn't need any excuse anyway. We went out partying into town, and we had a boss night. Liverpool went on to win the double, so I was quite happy with that. Yeah.
I mean, when you think of a provincial club like Oxford at the time, and where they've been, change of manager, to do what we did, and then to win the League Cup. To win the League Cup was extraordinary. How we went about that was fantastic. Liverpool lost to QPR in the semi-final, didn't we? And then we beat Aston Villa.
He scored 2 own goals.
Yeah, we got through by beating Aston Villa over the 2 legs, and went to Wembley. We were still underdogs, and we came away with a 3-0 victory. Where we actually we tore them apart. In the second
you scored one of the goals.
I scored one of the goals. Yeah, I mean it's amazing. Yeah, it's a dream. Like when you're growing up, you want to be a footballer. You want to be in someone's first team. You want to play at Wembley, didn't you? That was the thing at the particular time. And then John and I had broken into the international setup as well.
Just before that one.
Yeah, and listen, it's only a few days now where we made our debut, and Jack Charlton's first game. It's 40 years. 40 years. Wow. Actually, when we lost the other evening to Czechia.
Yeah.
It was the same day. It was 40 years to the day, 26th of March.
We played Wales.
We played Wales in 1986.
Wow.
So that just shows you, where we were. The manager of Jack Charlton took us in with the opportunity to play for Ireland. Our careers at Oxford, we're going all right, but international football then elevated you even higher, and it gave you an even bigger purpose to do things.
Absolutely.
But to score, keep them up. And we beat Arsenal last game of the season, do you remember?
That's right, yeah. Beat them 3-0, didn't we?
Yeah, beat them. Yeah. And no one really fancied us to do it. And I think it was at Ipswich who went down. Someone went down, and they thought they were going to be all right, but we came with a decent run at the end.
Results,
And then Aldo left for Liverpool, and not long after you did as well. How did the move come about? And did you need much convincing by Dalglish?
Do you mean the official or the other?
We are all about
the unofficial.
We are all about the unofficial.
No comment.
I mean, nobody's watching this anyway. So
There's a few little phone calls went on, saying
I think John still kept in contact at that particular time. There's a lot of that going on. But I could have, Inter Milan came in for me. Glasgow Rangers, I would have been the first Catholic to play for Rangers. Graham Souness was the manager. That was but I spoke to my two brothers, and that wasn't really going to happen. Nottingham Forest, I could have spoke to Brian Clough, and that's a regret. Because Brian Clough was such a character, I think just going to meet him would have been great in itself, just to hear what he had to say. But I went to see George Graham at Heathrow Airport, and I spoke to George for about an hour.
Arsenal.
He was Arsenal manager at the time, and for 40 minutes he spoke about Liverpool. Liverpool are great, Liverpool do this, Liverpool pass it last. And I'm just sitting there thinking, he's made my mind up. It was pretty easy afterwards, but it probably wouldn't have came about today the way it did then, because I actually played on the Saturday against West Ham for Oxford, and I was going up to Liverpool, up to Southport to meet the chairman, Peter Robinson, and Kenny afterwards. So in the game itself, Liam Brady was playing for West Ham. At the time, he was a teammate of ours with the Republic side. And I'm jumping out of every challenge. Every time the ball comes near me, I'm jumping out of the way because I'm like, I may get hurt. My chances are if I get injured in this game, my chances of signing for Liverpool might be gone. So, I don't want to get hurt in the game. And Liam came into me after the game and he said, "What was the matter with you today?" I said, "I'm going up to Liverpool to speak to Kenny." He went, "Oh, I was wondering why you were jumping out all the challenges." I said, "There was a good reason for it." So I went up to Southport and I agreed the deal fairly comfortably, fairly quickly. But Kenny did say to me, he said, "I want you to stay over." He said, "I want you to have your medical tomorrow, and then I want you to come up with me to Dundee. The lads are playing in a testimonial."
That's right.
And I said to him, "Well, I've not brought any gear with me. I've got no other clothes with me other than what I came up with, what I was going to travel back in the morning with. My wife's came up with me." And I said, "Well, how's she going to go home?" "Well," he said, "Well, she can drive, can she?" And I went, "Well, yeah, she can drive. Yeah, that's right. She's got an 80Z, can find her way back from Southport. Never been there before." And I'm thinking, this is surreal. And I went and had my medical at Doc Reed, at his surgery. Remember Doc Reed? The Irish doctor. Yeah. So I went to Dr. Reed's surgery. And this is how my medical at Liverpool went. So he said to me, "Get up on the couch." And he
get your knees ready.
No, he went, "Get your right ankle. Yeah, that feels all right. Left ankle, yeah. Right knee, yeah. Left knee, yeah." Give me a little sample going, he came back, "Yeah, that's fine." And then he went, "Right, this is it. I want you to get your finger out there and touch your nose." And I went a bit like that. He went, "You've passed." That was it. That was my medical at Liverpool. Never went to the hospital, never had an x-ray, never had a scan, nothing. That was my medical at Liverpool Football Club. And I was just thinking, this can't be right. This is not right. And then I travelled up to Dundee with Kenny. Obviously, on the way up, he's telling me about what the expectations are and blah, blah, blah. And then my first game, I went out and scored. There you are.
What game was that?
Dundee, away.
Oh, was it?
I played, I've
it was
scored,
the testimonial.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Well, on that note, that's the end of part one of Aldo Meets with Ray, James and Peter, and we'll be back shortly.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me tell you the story of a poor boy. He was sent far away from his home to fight for his king and his country, and also the old folks back home.
So Aldo, obviously you'd come in earlier on in the year, then John Barnes, Peter Beardsley, Ray. Was that the final piece in the jigsaw in terms of that great Liverpool team?
Yeah, the defence needed nothing. The midfield was all right, just to replace Russia and Kenny's goals. They played through the middle, as Kenny said. That's why I hardly played in the first 3 months, to January to May. Only played a few games. So we had to wait for us to get the right people in, and which he did, as I said before, Barnsley and Peter, then Ray, and it's bingo for me. And as Ray it's on before, I wasn't the type of player to get the ball and come into these areas. That's no good to me. I just push the centre halves back as far as they go and hold it up and fight them, hold the ball up and fight them, or get the ball or head it down to Peter, Ray or Barnsley, and that's me gone. I would go on the far post and move the defence around, and they'd done the business for me. Won the Golden Boot with the help of the three. I know the team, don't get me wrong, but the service I got from lads was prestige.
Yeah. Did you find yourself settling very quickly on and off the pitch?
No, yeah. Listen, I was surprised I got into the team straight away because, you look at how Liverpool started that season.
Crookie was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, they were playing brilliantly. Actually, I'd played there with Oxford, and we lost 2-0, which I was actually quite happy with because I'd gone to Anfield 3 times with Oxford. I was only there for 2-0, and we lost. My first game was 6-0, my sixth there was 4-0, and my last one was 2-0. So at least I was going in the right direction.
Progress.
It was a bit of progress because I think Ronnie Whelan said after the 6-0, "You're very good at taking kickoffs," because we won't take that many of them. But it was just an amazing club to be at, and it wasn't just the new lads that come in and how they settled into what was asked and required of. But you look at the depth of the squad and the lads that weren't getting a game. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. There was a lot of like for like players, quality wise, and I think Kenny knew that. There was a lot of players that weren't playing. It was tough, wasn't it? Because remember, there was only one sub. Yeah. 2 subs at the most back then. Yeah. It's not like the catalogue that you get now that you can change it around. You had to wait in case you got an injury before you made that change because you were worried about going down to 10 men. And there's a lot of players who obviously weren't getting involved because there's only a 14-man squad that was going away for games. So to manage all that was a lot more difficult than it is today. It's a lot easier now when you've got a group because you can bring them all with you. Whereas back then, that wasn't the case. So the ones that weren't going always felt that they weren't quite part of it. Yeah. And that dynamic was very difficult for the manager to get right.
Yeah. And you went 29 league games unbeaten that season, didn't
you? Yeah, unfortunately, Everton beat us 1-0. I didn't play that game, so that's the reason why I was gutted actually. I was watching in the canteen with there was three dinner ladies in Goodison Park, and there was 2 Liverpoolians and one was an Evertonian. We were watching the game. It was on Granada or something. It wasn't on satellite, so I was having a few snide pints, watching the game. Clark scored, didn't he? Clark. Clark. Tough game. It was always tough going to Goodison, but it was. Yeah, it was.
Do you know what? The atmosphere that day was absolutely electric.
Oh, and
Everton were
desperate.
They're
always good in Goodison anyway.
Yeah, no, but they were desperate to be the first team to beat Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest with you, I sort of half blame myself because I was always on the post for corners. We had 2 players on the post. I was normally on the back post. When the ball was delivered in, it took a bounce. And my natural reaction was to narrow in to get closer to Bruce. So as I'd done that, Wayne Clark's headed it into where I was, and I'm thinking, if I just stood there, he might have not made a massive difference. I don't know if we went on to win it or not, or not to lose the game. But it's little moments like that where you think, I should have just stood where I was, and maybe they wouldn't have went in. But listen, take nothing away from that season.
We only lost. The only game we lost was Forest away.
Forest away, yeah.
And a good team.
And on that Forest away one, I think he left Peter and I out that game because it was over the Easter period. And then he said, you'll play on the Monday. That was back when you used to play 2 games in quite quick succession. But it was an unbelievable season. I mean, I was a pro for 20 years. And I always say that the 5 years I had at Liverpool wasn't a case of you were going to win games. Yeah. It was how many you were going to win by. Yeah. And that wasn't arrogance. That was just down to the quality of the players that Liverpool had at that club at that particular time. The likes of Walsh, he wasn't getting Walker, he wasn't getting Jan Molby, Kevin Mack, Kevin McDonald wasn't playing. I could have went through a catalogue of players, crew who weren't playing. and had to, go and play in the reserves. Had to play in the reserves to keep your fitness up because you weren't getting any minutes because the team wasn't changing.
Yeah. And obviously a lot of people expected you to go on and win the double in that first season.
Yeah, pass. Can we go to Aldo part 3, please?
Do you know what?
The next topic won't get any easier.
I had played in a League Cup final with Oxford, so I've been to Wembley. I knew what was expected of you. I know how you're supposed to handle yourself. But I've got to tell you, when I woke up in the morning of the game against Wimbledon, I didn't sleep at all well, and I felt as nervous as I've ever felt going into the game, and I don't know why. I never felt like that before. I've never felt like that before, and I've never felt like that after just that one day. I don't know if it was the expectation. Everyone was, just saying it was just going to be such a comfortable win for Liverpool. I don't even know why Wimbledon was turning up, because you're on a big pitch like Wembley, the support that's going to be in there is just going to be one-way traffic. And I've got to say the referee wasn't particularly good.
He made a few
errors, didn't he?
Peter Beasley one was...
I think he actually apologised.
He did, he just, he didn't mean to. He wasn't as biased as the referees are this day and age, or corrupt.
Oh, no, he wasn't biased
He
at all.
he just
made a mistake.
Made a couple of poor decisions. And to be fair, the penalty, the fullback touched the ball. He did touch the ball before I went over his legs. Not mean that an excuse, and the rest is history. But
they hardly got out there. Yeah, but they hardly got out there half in the second half.
Oh, no,
No, it was just constant pressure from us. But I don't know why we just couldn't break them down. Credit to them. They were a big physical team. They sat in their shape. They made it difficult for us, and they afterwards got the plaudits they deserve. And for us, it was difficult. Because there was so much at stake.
Especially after the season, what we had now, Goody, where to falter at the last hurdle, it was really hard to take. For myself personally, Liverpool fan, I took the brunt of everything. Not scoring a penalty.
It's flat in the end, John. It went from a real high of what could have been, only losing 2 games. It could have been the first team in English history that went through the whole season unbeaten in the league, and that was taken away. Well. And then obviously, you've got what's happened in the cup final, and it never went flat. We were going off to the Euros with Ireland, and then all of a sudden,
I think that's what helped us, me and Ray,
deal with
it, and Ronnie, and the lads who suffered, because if it would have ended then, it'd been a long 6 weeks, But then going to the Euros and beating England, and Ray scored the goal. I got the assist. No, Ray scored. And that sort of, the build up to the England game was massive for us, and we knew what it was massive for the country. Never beaten England before.
But just on the season as a whole, though, I think we would have deserved to have won the double that season. Because when you look at, and I think it would have been fitting. Take nothing away from them. All credit to them. They did what they had to do in the final. I just think for a team that played that way, that excited the fans. I'm not just saying Liverpool fans. I think everyone who ever watched Liverpool in that particular period would have said they were a joy. We all like watching good football, didn't we? Whoever's playing, you like watching good football, didn't you? Everyone liked watching good football. And we played
the football we played, and I'm not being biased now. I've seen there's great Liverpool sides who were better than us because they won more trophies than us in Europe, which we weren't in Europe at the time. But we were the most flamboyant Liverpool side of all time.
And little did you know what season 88-89 would have in stock for you, because that was you won, you lost, and there was Hillsborough. So it must have been an absolute
well, that was
tragic, awful roller coaster of emotions in many ways. How did you get through that season?
Tough.
Well, if you were said to us after what happened at Hillsborough, the season's over, we were all said, right, that's the right decision. I don't think any of us wanted to play, but John and I obviously lived quite close together. We went to some of the funerals together. We had no appeal to play football at that stage. I couldn't be bothered. Didn't really want to play at all, and we sort of coerced into it. The powers that be made a decision that we were going to go and play, and then we felt that we had to do the right thing, which was to keep ourselves as good as we could. And for the memories of people who passed, to go out there and do it for the families. To go out there, and because their life was Liverpool Football Club. When families came in to Anfield and we sat and talked to them. You know, we weren't counsellors. We didn't know what we were really doing. But all we wanted to do was to, you know, like, do as much as we could for, you know, the families that were there and try to get them over the grief as best we could.
Hard days, weren't they, Ray?
Yeah, there were, but they were.
We
they were
lived like
meaningful,
100
John.
yards apart, and every single day was really hard getting up and going to bed. And you know,
Yeah, but it was meaningful though, wasn't it? You had to do it.
Yeah.
There was a good reason behind
absolutely
why we done it, and you know, we did it without any problems.
Yeah.
We went in and did what we had to do. We spoke to the relevant people that we had to, and then, you know, you get to the final itself. You're playing against Everton, and it's a game we couldn't lose. We just couldn't lose that game. We knew we had to win it. And, you know, we were the better team for 90 minutes. There's no question. And then they, you know, get a late equalise, and then we get the extra time, and you know, eventually we get over the line. The only thing missing, I've spoken about this quite a lot. The only thing missing for me from that day, and I think it would have been great if we could have done it, was when we collected the trophy. I know it would have been difficult for the Everton players, but for everyone to walk around as one around the ground, Liverpool players, Everton players, and just thanked everyone, because it wasn't just the red half of the city that was in mourning; the blue half was mourning as well. Absolutely. The whole city of Liverpool had come together, and I think it would have been fitting for both teams to walk around at the end and just thank everyone for everything that they'd done to help the ones that lost loved ones at that particular time.
Yeah, good show,
And then, of course, 89-90, you regained the league title. Was what happened against Arsenal at the end of the previous season? Did you use that as fuel as a team, do you think?
No, look, just on the Arsenal defeat, I've actually, in my toilet, I've got a picture of Mickey Thomas when he goes through, and I'm actually on the floor. And the reason behind it is one of the big regrets, and still a regret to this day, because I could have brought him down. I blame Barnsley because he should have kept it in the corner.
There was three things. Barnsley went in the corner, and he didn't go in the corner, sorry, he went to the goalkeeper, and I knew Barnsley was out of position, and I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, I'm probably a mess, and I knew I stop it. And if you look at the video, my arms go up like that, and something stopped me from just getting a booking. Stops, we get and we win. And then from that, Ray blames himself as well. So there's three little incidents there that led to the goal being scored.
But I chased back. I was virtually...
You were the nearest, man.
I was nearest to John when he had the ball, when he cuts inside. And then obviously it's developed where it's going from Lukic out to Dixon, and then as the ball's being played forward, I'm running back. So I can see how the game's developing. And as I've gone in, I've noticed that Mickey was free. And as I went through, I'm thinking I'm going to bring him down. But in my head, Mickey had gone through a little bit earlier in a similar position, put it wide of the target. And I'm thinking, maybe he'll do that again. If I bring him down, I'm the villain. They score, I'm the one at fault. And then I made the decision not to bring him down. It's a split second thing. But to this day, I'm still thinking, I should have brought him down. It's something that will be with me for the rest of my life. Because it's as I say, there's little things that happen in matches that are defining moments and game-changing moments. And maybe if I brought him down, the pressure on whoever the penalty taker was, he misses, and then we could have won the double.
That's interesting. You've got a picture in the frame, though. Why did you do that? Why did you have the picture?
It's in the toilet.
It's in the toilet.
He's having a shite, he's watching the fucking thing.
Why did you be reminded of that?
It's always in there.
Right.
It's always in there. I'm never going to ever forget that.
Right.
It's a bit like games that you play in. You know, John and I played in hundreds and hundreds of games. We don't remember all. Some of them up to self. Do you remember when you got back? Not quite. But there's certain matches that are relevant to you that you'll never forget. You know, and it's there. But yeah, it's still a reminder.
Yeah. And Ray, of course, you were at Liverpool when, you know, an end of an era really with Kenny going and then Graham Souness coming in. How much did things change with that transition from...
Dramatically. You know, Graham came in and he had, you know, a plan in place where he wanted the club to go. He wanted to change the training regime. We went... John will tell you, when I came to Liverpool, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke. The training was so easy. You know, when I started off at West Ham, we had Billy Bonds, God rest him. Billy Bonds was one of the best athletes I've ever trained with. He was an unbelievable runner. And when we used to do pre-season, we had a professional runner, and Billy used to beat the professional runner. He was that good. So we used to race his back. We used to do 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles. We just do hills and all sorts. And I came to Liverpool, and I think the furthest I ran was 400 yards. And I'm thinking, is this it? How do we get fit? I didn't know how you got fit.
Right, and then the coach was like, touch your nose. I'm just training over.
I'm just thinking, what is going on? It's the same training every day. And I'm thinking, how do you get fit? But there's a small side of games that you play. That's where your fitness comes, because that's where you get your touch. And and then you get your dynamic movement. That's where it came from. So that was where there was a big change. But then Graham came in, and then he went to longer distance running and, horseshoe runs and things in between. Then the diet changed. Just different things that changed at the club. But one of the things that I think as a manager, what you've got to do is when you come in as a new manager, your first signing or two has got to be a major signing, because you want to put yourself out there as, look, this is what I'm about, and this is where I see the club going. And I don't think Graham got that side of it right. And I think you'd be the first to admit that. And if you're going to bring players in, they've got to be better than what you're letting go.
Yeah.
And I don't think that quite happened as far as Graham was concerned. Listen, I think at the time when Kenny left, if you'd have said Graham Souness, I would have said to you, I think he's the right man. Yeah. He did an education such at Rangers. He'd done what he had to do there. And I thought, being an ex-Liverpool player coming in, he would know what the club's about, what made them tick. So I think there's a lot of, if you ask a lot of the players at that time, they were all said the same thing. Yeah, he was the right man to come in at that time, but it just didn't work out in the manner that you would have liked.
Yeah, but you did get your hands on the FA Cup.
Yeah, like 1992, we beat Sunderland, didn't we? Look, I was very fortunate. In my 5 years at Liverpool, I finished first, second, and then sixth. When we had our worst season, which actually was my best season, as in
got 12 goals that season.
Yeah, my last season, I played as well as I had done previously. I think I got into the top 6 of the PFA Player of the Year. Scored the goals that you said that I got, and I was really enjoying my football. So I'm surprised when I went in to see Graham about a new contract. I had a year left or so, and I had no intention of leaving the club. I was loving it, and I'm just coming off a great season. The last thing I wanted to do is to move. But when I asked for the contract that I wanted, and Graham said to me, "Well, I didn't buy you. You're not my player. I didn't bring you to the club." Straight away, I was on the back foot. I never had an agent. I don't know if John ever had an agent. I never had an agent. Is it a regret? Absolutely, because I think agents can go in there and work on your behalf without you falling out. I think agents can take the brunt of it, whereas I didn't have one. So I was doing it all myself. And it's more difficult. It's no doubt it's more difficult. You're trying to, look after your future. The manager knows that, you don't really know a great deal about it. All you're going on is maybe what some of the other players are getting, and you don't know a great deal about it. Whereas the agents know much better than I would have done, and it's a massive regret. And Graham's offered me what I thought was a small amount, a derisory amount in comparison to what other players were on the back of how well I'd played. That's what I was looking at is, give me what I'm worth now, not what, because you brought someone else in and you gave me that amount of money. Were they worth it? Was I worth it? That's what I'm going, when we go back talking about Mo Salah, it's about what your worth is. And Graham didn't see it that way, and that's why, eventually I moved on.
Well, on that note, that's the end of part 2 of Aldo Meets. We'll be back shortly.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me tell you the story of a poor boy. He was sent far away from his home to fight for his king and his country, and also the old folks back home.
So Ray, how do you look back on your 3 years with Aston Villa? Won the League Cup with them in 94 as well.
Yeah,
some really good players. Irish
well, we had
as well.
Paul McGrath, John will tell you, one of the best.
Stan and
unbelievable. Andy. Well, Andy wasn't there when I first went there. So it was Paul, Stevie Staunton and myself. Yeah, so Ron was brilliant for me. I could have went to Chelsea. Which would have been easier for me. Chelsea would have been easy for me, because my wife's from London. It was always always on the cards. We were going to go back and live in London, so I could have went back to Chelsea. But Ian Porterfield was the manager at Chelsea at the time, and I went to speak to him. And to be honest, I got the vibe that he wasn't going to be there long. That was the sort of vibe that I got from Chelsea. So I'm thinking maybe not. And then I spoke to Big Ron. Ron was sold the club to me big time. You know what he's seen. He was a gregarious character.
The character, yeah.
He was a character, and he wanted you to do what this is what we're going to do, and he sold it brilliantly to me. I had to go into Ken Bates, who was the chairman of Chelsea at the time, and I had to tell him that I was going to go to Villa rather than Chelsea. And I remember the conversation I had with him was, I hope you have a nightmare against Chelsea home and away, and he put the phone down with me. That was it.
Really?
Nothing else.
So he took it well.
He took it very well. So I went to Villa, and I got injured pre-season. I think we went to Germany, got injured pre-season. And I remember Ron coming to me and saying, you better be fit for your first league game of the season. He says, I've put a lot of money and a lot of the store by you. You want to play. So when you're a new lad and you don't know much what's going on and all that. And the lad said, we'll meet on a Sunday. We'll go to the Ballymore pub. Yeah. And Four Oaks, and said, we'll have a drink there just to get together and all that. So I said, all right. I've met the lads training and that, but socially I hadn't really met them. So we got to the pub. I had 1 pint of lager and I was thinking, don't really like that. I said, next round come around, I said, I'll tell you what, I'll have a Bacardi and Coke. I don't fancy, I'll have a Bacardi and Coke. And as I've picked up the Bacardi and Coke, the doors have opened at the back and in walks Doug Ellis, the chairman of Aston Villa Football Club. He's coming into the pub where all the players are with the pints. And he walks over and he gets them all in the huddle and he see the difference? Points at them all. See the difference? He says, that's why he's a winner. That's why he's won the leagues, the FA Cups. That's why he's won it all. He's on the coke. And look at all you lot. And not one of the lads grassed me up. So it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. I'm saying, you're right, chairman. Look, there we go.
He's a character, wasn't he?
I thought he was, he was a lovely fella. He was a lonely old man, but he was all right. But Ron, first season, he made you feel 10 feet tall. He could make you go out there and play to a higher level than maybe you were like maybe be capable of. But we had a really good solid bunch. We brought in Dean Saunders from Liverpool because we needed another attacker. But we had players like Dwight Gawk, he couldn't get in the team. God rest him, Cyril Regis was there. So we had the nucleus of a very, very
good
side. What year was
this, Ray?
That was 92. The first year of the Premier League, 92, 93.
I spoke to Ron, he phoned me up. Did you ever tell you?
No.
Yeah, it was a Tranmere. Yeah, he wanted me.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years at Tranmere, and we had the chat on the phone. He said, look, wouldn't you, blah, 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 blah. But you had to tell Johnny King, I'm not paying $1 million for you. I went, okay. Well, I said, to be fair, I can't do that. I can't go and say, because we're having a conversation after. I said to him, so, whatever you can do, if they want to let me go, then absolutely, if Tranmere don't see me at the club. And I've got a lot of friends at Aston Villa, four of my teammates in Ireland. But then obviously they wouldn't pay what Tranmere wanted, so that would have been another club.
I know. Yeah. It was a bit like Dean Saunders. Dean's followed me around. I went to Oxford, he came to Oxford.
Right, yeah.
I went to Liverpool, he went to come to Liverpool. I went to Villa, he came to Villa. But we had some really good players, and it was a good side.
You beat Tram, funny enough, they beat us in the semi-final of that League Cup. We won. We won 3-0 at home. We played really well. And
Daly Atkins got a late goal.
Daly, my old mucker from Real Sociedad, scored a late goal, 3-1. And then we went to Villa Park and ended up, I got a penalty, scored a penalty early on, but we ended up getting beat 3-1. It went all the way to penalties in the semi-final. And you beat us by the odd penalty.
We were lucky.
The only good thing is, if we got the final, Man United would have beat us. So Villa went there. I was happy because Villa beat Man United, so it worked out well.
In my 3 seasons at Villa, there was 2 games that stood out. The Tranmere game because of the atmosphere. The atmosphere was absolutely electric.
Brilliant, yeah.
I couldn't always say that, but that was that day. And the other one, we beat Inter Milan in the UEFA Cup on penalties. We lost in San Siro 1-0. I actually scored the only goal at Villa Park, and then we went to penalties. And we ended up beating them. Bergkamp was playing at Dennis Bergkamp was at the club there for them, which was absolutely brilliant. My 3 years at Villa I really enjoyed, but when I was moving was when I first talk about how I seen the change in football, how it was going to change, because Brian Little had come in. Brian was an absolute legend at Aston Villa as a player. He came in as a manager, It was the first time Brian didn't like confrontation. So, in the changing room, I was always going to... I would never tell anyone off in a nasty way. I would only try and encourage them and maybe to say, this is what happened. Could we have done something else? Because it's not about, putting people down. There's no point doing that. You don't gain anything by that. You've got to just try and help them. I was always trying to help them. Even if it was vocally, that was the way I would do it. But Brian didn't like that. He always wanted you to be calm and, don't shout at players, son. I don't like it. And that was my first real, when I look back, thought of how football was going to change from then on.
And then, you say you still live in London with your family, right?
Yeah.
So the last few stops in your career were Palace and Reading. You retired in the end from Stevenage in 2038. So now you were in the south. Was that it? Then that's where your home was. And
to be fair, Peter, there'll be some that would say I retired before because I was that bad at a couple of them clubs.
Good age, 38.
Listen, I had some great times. Reading, we got relegated at Reading. Tommy Burns, God rest him, came in. He was the manager. Tommy was brilliant. He had some really good ideas how the game was played. Very much how it's played today, pass it and come off and keep in possession of the ball. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the players to do it. It looked good on paper, but when it actually happened, it didn't quite work out the way we would have wanted it to. And I only went to Stevenage because a pal who I knew was the manager there, and he was struggling, and he says, come in. And it was part-time, so I only went in on Tuesday, Thursday. I enjoyed it because it was around the lads and all that, but in honesty, I shouldn't have went because I wasn't really ready for it at all. And then you finish and you just think, what do you do next?
Yeah, but you look back at the international career. I had 69 caps, you had 73, and then we played most of the games together, and that was special. 10 years. I was 10 years. You must have been a bit more than me, right? 12 years.
No. We started in 1986 together.
We had the best time.
Well,
it was amazing.
Jack was just unique, wasn't he? Jack
so
was, and I'll tell you two stories about Jack if I can. One was when we had the penalties. He's off, so we're all in a huddle.
Oh yeah,
Romania against Romania because we're playing in the last 16 of the World Cup. Yeah. We're playing against Romania. We're drawing the game 0-0, and we're trying to find 5 penalty takers, and we're just in this huddle. And Jack's not got involved in it. John's been sitting down because he's injured. He's off. So we've got no one that can take a penalty. No one's really put their hand up. Struggling to get
just
anyone.
Sheeds,
no, we had 2 that put their hand up. Kevin Sheedy because he took them with Everton, and Andy Townsend because he took them with Norwich and Southampton. And that was it. But I remember Jack coming over and he just put his hands over on top of the shoulders of the lads and he said, "You got yourself into this mess, now get yourselves out of it." And walked away. He never chose any penalty takers. He just said, "I'll leave that with you." And all I can remember is the huddle was just getting wider and wider and wider. And all I can hear is, "Oh, I don't fancy one." How about you? "Oh, I don't fancy one." We can't find a third penalty taker. No one. So I'd never taken a penalty before in my life.
The third one, was
it? Well, I was the third name. I wasn't the third. I took the second penalty on the day, but I was the third name. So we had Sheeds and we had Andy. And then I, as I said, never taken a penalty before. I never practiced them because I was never on them. And I said, "I'll take one." And then that was 3. And then I went to Tony Cascarino.
He took the worst penalty I've ever seen and scored.
This is the true story. I think it was in his book. So I goes up to Cass and I said, you take one. You're the last striker we've got. And all I can remember him saying, "Nah, bottle's gone, bottle's gone, bottle's gone, bottle's gone." Not for me, bottle's gone. And I'm looking, I'm trying to cajole him in here. I'm going, come on, Tony. You've got to take one. You're a last striker. "Oh, bottle's gone, bottle's gone." And I looked at him and I said, "Are you a man or a mouse?" And he looked at me and went, "Pass the cheese." And I said, and if you ever seen his penalty, he went up and he hit the ground that hard.
Biggest divot
a divot came out. The goalkeeper dived at the divot and the ball rolled under him. I remember when I took my penalty, and my dad said to me, "Whatever you do, if you take a penalty, son," he said, "just choose your spot, but don't change your mind."
Yeah.
Whatever you do. So I remember the goalkeeper was Lungi, I think he was the Romanian keeper. So when I went up to put the ball down, I looked at him and he looked like his head was touching the crossbar. And then when he put his 2 hands out, he was touching either post. And I'm thinking, where Dealt with this. And just as I went up to take the penalty, he crouched down. So he was about 3 foot, and I went, come on, if I can't be a 3 foot goalkeeper, no problem. So I hit the ball into the corner where I wanted to. Well, it wasn't quite the corner, but it went in. And I went onto my knees, and I can tell you there was no joy, absolutely no joy that I scored. It was pure relief, pure relief. And I turned round, and the first person I seen was Tony Cascarino, and all the blood had drained out because he knew he was up to number 4. But it was, I mean, it's an incredible thing to
Dave
be part of.
O'Leary took the last pen.
Oh no,
Dave O'Leary, centre half. I don't know, Dave. Honestly, we didn't expect it. We just seen him, and I'm on the bench like that, and I'm thinking, fuck off. And I'm looking at Jack.
that was when I took it.
and no, seriously, no disrespect to Dave. And I looked at Jack. He's gone like that. He's got his head in his hands. I'm thinking, fucking what? Speak fair. He said it was a really good penalty, wasn't he?
Yeah, but do you remember what Jack had said to your physio? You know, just flippantly, he said, if we get to Rome,
we'll
I'll get you an audience with the Pope.
Yeah.
Just flippantly, just
That's
make this
right,
remark.
yeah.
We'll get you to... And then Jack's like that.
I hope he fucking misses.
If he scores, how am I going to get an audience with the Pope? But he did. We had a bishop who'd been with us throughout the tournament, and he got us the audience with the Pope on the back of us getting through.
You lot saw the Pope, you know?
No, we met him in a room, and
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
fabulous. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
I'll show you the pictures later.
I'm a bit jealous now.
We become best mates, us and the Pope. You know, we fall in each other. You know, and
I'm
that,
pretty sure that Pope is
What a
dead,
great
you
Pope
know,
was.
but
John Paul.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And Ray, you had some unbelievable moments, didn't you, with Ireland, the winner against England at the Euros, the winner against Italy.
Yeah,
in
Jack
the
said to me
States.
when in 1988, when I scored against England, I'm often asked, what's your favourite goal? You know, the one against England or the one against Italy. And I always see England. And it's fairly simple. It was the first time Ireland had ever qualified for a major tournament. First game that we played, and we played against the old enemy, which was England.
Euros,
And, you know, I scored the winning goal. So when you factor that all in, there's no doubt, look, the World Cup's a bigger competition. It's a much, much bigger competition. It's a pinnacle of being an international footballer who's representing your country at the World Cup. But scoring in that day, and it was my first ever goal for Ireland. You know, that was massive as well. But Jack said to me after the game, don't you ever do that again. And I looked at him and I went, what score against England? He went, no, score that early. He says, that was the longest 84
You know what? That was my most enjoyable game, you know, because of the banter, you know, in Liverpool. Like, to be fair, a lot of my mates supported England, but Ireland as well, and quite a lot supported. But beating England, we knew how much it meant to the country, and such a massive stage. And England were a good team. We put them off. We put the mockers on them for the rest of the competition. They should have qualified with what they had, and I was beating them in the manner we should beat them. It was, you know, and then coming off the back of, you know, the Wimbledon Cup final. That's the game that I always recall as in the green shirt more than anything else.
Yeah.
And good old Ray. You put the ball in the English net. Ray did.
But 94 was great.
Yeah, we
personally,
won it.
Because
1990 we got the quarterfinals.
you know, for a nation like Ireland to get to the last 8 was incredible. But 1994, I wasn't expecting to play. You know, in the build up to the matches, Jason McAteer had started in some of the friendlies ahead of me. But I got myself into really good shape. I spoke to the Irish doctor. I mean, I was training in the sauna at the local David Lloyd with all my kit on. Everyone must have thought I was nuts, but that was what I was told to do. And I got myself into a position where, in training, I'd done well. And it was Kevin Moran said to me, I think Jack's going to play you against Italy. And I said, I'm not sure. And he went, no, definitely. And then Jack came to me and said, like, you're in. And then, you know, when the ball got played forward, Baresi heads it out. The only mistake probably Frankel Baresi's made in his life, and it came to me. I chested it down, and my first reaction was to play it out to Steve Staunton on the left, but he was marked. So he just sat there, and I thought, just hit it. And then it's funny the emotions that you have. My first emotion was going over the bar. The second one, the keeper was going to save it. And the last one was he was going to go in the back of the net. And then I'd done this funny celebration where I'd done a roly-poly, which I've never done before. And after the game, all the press, I went out to meet the press afterwards, and the press said, well, why did you do your goal celebration? I said, well, you're about to just put my hand up. He went, no, you done the... And I've gone, no, never. And they went, no, you did. You done a... can't remember that at all. So we had to go to a race course over the road. Do you remember? We went to a race course
after the game. Yeah.
we had to wait for Tommy Coyne to do a urine sample. He couldn't go to the toilet. So we were waiting for a good hour and a half. So the family was over there.
Beers, didn't we
had a couple of beers there, and there was horse race going on. So we were over there, and my wife was over there, and she said to me, "What did you?" And then it came back to me, and I thought, "Oh my God, what did I do? Why did I do that?" And even now, to this day, people say to me, "Can you still do the roly poly?" It's called a gamble in Birmingham. You can do a gamble, and the lads will say to me, "Can you do the gamble?" I said, "I'm just about put my hand up these days. I'm not doing a gamble."
Couple of questions, Ray, before we do the famous quiz. I know you're good at quizzes. We used to always go to quiz.
Oh, you put me right under pressure now, aren't you?
on a Wednesday night when playing for Liverpool and Tranmere, and look at the English Rose in Elwood. We've done quiz loads of time. Right, Ray. I think I know this one. Who's the best manager in your career?
Oh, there was two.
Two?
Yeah, Kenny and Jack
Jack.
Charlton. Yeah. There's only of all the managers and even players, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to anyone, but there'd be two people, if they walked in a room, everyone would turn around when they walked in.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't matter what you were doing, you could be over there chatting away, but you just knew something major had walked in the room, and that was Jack Charlton and Kenny Dalglish. Yeah. They had that aura about them. They were absolutely phenomenal.
Right. And if you had a five-a-side team from all your teammates, what would it be?
Yeah.
In goal.
I'd have to have the hound dog, wouldn't I?
He can play out, can't he, as well?
Yeah, he'd come out with a ball, wouldn't he? You know what I mean? Yeah, I've had Jockey Hansen, I've got to have.
Yeah.
He was absolutely fantastic. Ronnie was great holding on to the ball, wasn't he? Barnesy.
Yeah.
How many have I got?
4.
And you'll be up front, you score.
You've missed Paul McGrath out.
Yeah, but yeah, Paul,
Paul didn't train, did he?
You know, see, like,
he didn't train, he didn't have to train.
My ultimate combination at centre half is Paul McGrath and Alan Hansen.
Yeah.
So I can't tell them apart, you know what I mean? When I look
it's a good show.
There's two outstanding players, who are absolutely phenomenal at what they did. Just incredible players and incredible individuals.
I get that. And out of everything you've achieved, what are you most proud of? What means the most to you?
Turning pro. I'll tell you why, because when you're growing up and you've had adversity and you've had knockbacks, and you know when you're yourself, when you've got to come through and people don't trust you, don't believe in you, don't give you the. I mean, I went to QPR in trial and I was there for a week and the fella didn't even know I was there. They just bypass you.
Especially when you know it's your goal.
It's your life.
You want to become a professional footballer. As a kid, that's all you've ever wanted, isn't it?
It's a dream. Yeah, it's a dream. You dream from a very young, from as far back as I can remember.
Yeah, and
I wanted to be a
playing
professional
at Wembley. You dream of playing Euros.
Just being a pro. Mings was easier than that. Mings was just being a pro.
Okay.
I wanted to be a pro so much. I wanted to, playing football with my older brothers when I was a kid. I mean, I grew up in Glasgow with Arthur Graham, who played for Leeds United, Man United.
I remember him, yeah.
Frank Gray, Eddie Gray. There's loads of players in and around my area.
Great players.
So I'd seen them move on and become pros, and I wanted to emulate what they were doing. And then when you think your chance is gone and you keep getting knockbacks, to finally sign your first contract, you're thinking, yeah, I've got a chance. At least I've done what I wanted to do since I was a very young
that's
person.
what players is that they lack a little bit of fire in the belly.
I like that a lot, Ray.
Just proper fire in the belly.
Fantastic answer.
Right, Ray. Talking about fire in the belly. There we go. James's famous or unfamous fucking quiz.
Can I just tell one story? I know you. To me, it's an important one because I think it talks about humility and it talks about people who so much, and you'll know this. But Jack Charlton, who's sadly not with us any longer, I went and interviewed Jack when he had his illness up at his house, and he was getting the award from RTE, and they asked me to go and interview him. And as I was sitting there and I'm asking the questions, he couldn't remember. He couldn't remember back when we were playing and all the highlights that we had. And I'm trying to give him little, prompts about what we'd done and the songs that we sung about. Put him under pressure, Jack, playing against England, and he just couldn't remember them. He remembered a little bit about the Pope, but something that will sit with me, a couple of things that will sit with me with it was, as we were finished, I was just doing nods to the camera, and Jack was there, And his words to me were, he said, "You should have sat here and answered the questions." It sounded like we had a great time.
Oh.
Oh,
Do you know what? I still dream about Jack Charlton, and for someone to have a massive influence on my life as he did was only probably my dad. And I can't tell you how much we loved him, me and Ray and the team, and what we go through a brick wall for him. And I think we should honour this show to Jack Charlton, because he meant so much to me and Ray, and what he did for the people of Ireland from an Englishman. He was unbelievable.
Just a funny little thing about it, though, at the end of it. So after he's sat there and we've done the interview as such, I said to him, "You got your World Cup winners medal?" He went, "Yeah." I said, "I could have a look at it. I've never seen one before. That'd be great." He went, yeah. So he goes upstairs and comes down. Well, he brought down this little box he would have got from a hardware store for about £2.
No one can.
I looked at him and went, "It's not in there, is it?" And he went, "Yeah." And he got this little key and he opens it up. It's got a little handle on it. Brilliant. And there it was, the World Cup winners medal. Brilliant. And I went, that sums him up. That is what Jack Charlton's all about. No airs and graces, just a down-to-earth fella who made such a massive impact in all of us. Yeah. But that's the humility you want in the football.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. That's class, that, yeah. Right. To you for the quiz, mate.
Oh, I'm dreading this now.
No, you'll be all right.
You put me right in it. I got a lot of cuts here, by the way. A lot of cuts here.
We've had 2 5 out of 2 or 3.
Oh, no.
I don't. Yeah, this one for you, quickly. Who do you reckon, and you know him very, very well as a teammate, who was the worst one out the quiz?
We lost the bevy. He was on about 6 points.
Yeah.
He ended up.
He was bollocks.
Was it Nickel?
0 out of 6? Bollocks, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Normally he's better when he's had a drink.
Oh, no. We had the great day.
I don't think you can remember much of it, but it was a great show.
Right, number 1. Who did you make your Liverpool debut against in October 1987?
Well, I was against Luton away. We won 1-0, Gary Gillespie. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's you've just answered number 2, which is.
I told you he was good at quick. Fucking Christmas, I told you.
Never had that before. Someone got the answer to the next one before you even read the.
Sorry.
Who got the winner that day? Gary Gillespie, right? This might be a little bit tricky. You were named in the PFA Team of the Year in 91-92. Which other Liverpool player made that PFA Team of the Year?
I would have gone for Rob Jones.
Very good.
Wow.
That was
right. Number 4, you scored 38 goals for Liverpool. Against which club did you score the most?
Oh,
3 goals it was.
Yeah.
Is that it? You got more in the game?
No, I tell you what. Yeah. A lot of people like you for it, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll go for Everton.
Correct.
That was a tough.
That's another assist I got.
Number 5, we said before, your best season for Liverpool in terms of goals was 12 in 91-92.
Yeah.
You were the club's second top scorer that season.
Dean Souness.
Correct.
I thought it was just a quiz.
Maybe let James finish the question.
Unbelievable there.
4 out of 4. Come on, Ray. Keep it going.
Your final Liverpool appearance was in the 1992 FA Cup final.
Yeah.
But who was your final Anfield appearance for Liverpool against? We might have you here.
Yeah, you will have me there, yeah.
And what was the score? And who scored?
Oh, no, I couldn't remember that. I remember the
Come on, think. 92.
92.
1-2-0.
Teams against.
No,
Rushy and Wally scored the goals.
Oh, that was against Sunderland. You're talking about the final.
No, this.
You're talking about the league game.
Your last Anfield game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. Yeah, because the final was against Sunderland. I actually hit the crossbar from the halfway line. Yeah. No one ever remembers it though.
Yeah.
But Rush and Walters did score in this game as well. It was a 2-0 home win at Anfield.
No,
end of the season.
Come on, Ray.
No, we don't.
Another big rival.
Man United.
Correct.
You got an assist.
Oh no, I mean, because I set Wally up for the second.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's all from another great episode of Aldo Meets with Ray, me old mate. Cheers, pal.
Yes, pal.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thanks
for coming.
Thanks,
James.
Brilliant.
See you next time.